Welcome to another YHM podcast. It's Rupert Johnson here. I'm joined by Helen Noakes today. She's going to be talking about her influences in the yoga world and also as a body worker. So, Helen, without further ado, can you tell us what got you started in the yoga world?
Well, I'm really lucky because I feel like I've had the freedom to really explore lots of different mediums of movement, expression, intuition. And because I've been going to India for nearly 20 years, where it's just a whole plethora of courses in all shapes and forms and expressions and musicians and happenings, and I feel that I can dive into many different teachers and have a really open opinion if I like them or not. So I really feel that I've had a great choice. And I've just said yes to the courses that have come along the way where I feel my gut feeling says go for it. So, of course, my main influence would be Elizabeth Pounce. She's been my most beloved expression of this teaching, my most influential expression. I call her my mentor, so whenever things aren't going quite right in my life or I feel challenged, I often send her a message and say, hey, this is going on and tell me what to do. So she's an incredible influence. She's very objective and she's very much like that in her yoga. So I always enjoy working with her and learning from her because she really brings yoga off the mat to me. So how she lives her everyday life is not different to how she is on the mat. And she doesn't go off and live in a cave. She lives an ordinary life and deals with what comes towards her. So with her yoga practice, I love her hands-on. It's very expressive. It's full of intuitive guidance. She's very firm, but very soft at the same time. She's incredibly loving. And what I've really learned from her is a sense of compassion. If I want to use the word compassion, maybe that's the wrong word, but sense of appreciation of somebody else's commitment to their body and health. I really love her use of poetry and art. For instance, on my first retreat with her, she arranged a private tour of the Uffizi. And we went into each room of the Uffizi in Florence, and the guide chose one or two paintings and talked at length about each painting, going through each century. And then when we went back into the yoga class in her yogashala, she put a postcard of each painting that we had seen and then asked us to express our yoga practice around our feelings from each painting. So I really loved how she kind of gets you to open other doors within yourself that's not necessarily in the remit of what we think yoga is supposed to be. She's also a very studious person. I often find her on the banks of the Ganges reading the Vedas or reading or chanting. She's really got a strong self-practice. And of course, her connection to Vanda. So that's how I get to touch Vanda's words, because obviously I never met her. But Elizabeth herself, she's been really open about what she learned from Vanda Scaravelli. So I feel really in gratitude for that she imparted some of her personal interpretation of her private lessons with Vanda. So I feel that's really gold dust for me. She also encourages me to think out of the box. I really love expressive movement in the form of, let's say, 5 rhythms. Jo Cubitt from Los Angeles is an incredible influence where she really pushes you over your limits. That's been I would say, important part of my teaching, to really be revolutionary around how I want to express something. So that's been invaluable. I always also like to say what's been invaluable is my past work. Before I came into yoga, I was dressing wigs in theatre. So walking into somebody's dressing room and touching their head and doing their hair meant that I had to completely adjust to the environment, to their personality, and to how they're feeling. So in each room I would go to in the half-hour call, I would be having to tune in to what would be the best way to approach and to touch this person I'm working with. So sometimes I'd have to be completely silent, or sometimes I could chat about anything, or sometimes I would just obviously talk about the person I'm working with. That was really a huge lesson in how to walk into environments, which we often do, and not knowing what you're going to get and responding to the moment, which is what we try to teach on our immersion courses, our month intensives. How do you teach to a room of people you don't know? And how do you teach to a room of people who have all different types of yoga experience and body issues? So I've walked into a room where someone has just got one leg, or someone's in a wheelchair, or someone is 9 months pregnant and the next person next to them is a very experienced Ashtanga yoga teacher. So it's really helped me to adjust to those extreme challenges and experiences and to learn to just embrace them. What I feel really grateful for is that foundation over the years, that especially from Elizabeth herself, is her teaching is to have no doubt, to really trust and enjoy what you have inside of you. So to teach from your gut, which I personally enjoy. I really enjoy teaching from having no methods or sequences, but over the years I've learned to trust my intuition that you teach to the energy of the room, which is scary when it first happens. But after a while, you learn just to open up to that moment. And sometimes, most times it's positive, and sometimes it's very challenging. So that's what I find really excites me. And what you keep learning is you simply have to respond to what's in front of you. And there's nothing else to do but that. So you have to rely on what you know and feel, which also changes every moment. And then one last thing I forgot to mention, of course, is my bodywork experience. I'm really blessed to have been a body worker for 20 years, I guess, as well. So learning to and teaching massaging with my feet has been a phenomenal tool into how to enter someone's space, how to touch them softly, give really, clear guidance, to also be aware of if it's appropriate to touch someone or not. Of course, I've got that wrong tons of times. And I think the body work is an integral part of any kind of teacher, because if you don't trust that idea that you can adjust someone with touch, I think that's quite sad, because touching someone is such a huge gift for both people. Again, I really believe in guidance, not pulling or pushing anyone into some kind of a shape that you think they should be in. I really believe in adjustments to be something that you feel could possibly help someone find their own centre or their own relaxation. And sometimes you can just adjust with words or give them a vision. And the only way you do that is just keep practicing. And I definitely can say I've thrown myself in at the deep end many, many times. So the body work has been an integral part. Of course, just recently, my new passion is dissecting cadavers, which is a bit shocking for some. And I've really enjoyed that work with Gary Carter and Julian Baker. That's been extremely beneficial to actually feel and look what's going on behind the skin. And it's confirmed to me that I know less than nothing, and to keep things very simple and to know that less is more.
Okay, thanks, Helen. That's certainly a rich tapestry of influences and interests right there.
Thanks for letting me rant on.
It's an absolute pleasure as always. We're lucky enough to have Elizabeth Pounce, Helen's teacher and mentor, appearing on the course very soon. So we'll keep you informed about those dates and when that's going to be. And in the meantime, for more information, head over to yogahealthmandala.co.uk, and we'll see you next time.